Have you ever noticed that some people never join in on gossip even when everyone else in the room is doing it? It's not because they're shy. It's not because they lack an opinion, and it's certainly not because they're socially awkward. It's because they understand something fundamental about human behavior that most people completely overlook. Psychology shows that individuals who actively avoid gossip possess a rare, highly developed form of emotional intelligence. They operate on a completely different psychological wavelength. They know that the way someone speaks about an absent person tells you absolutely nothing about the person being discussed, but it tells you everything about the person talking. These quiet observers value trust as a currency. They understand that human relationships are incredibly fragile and that words once released into the world can never be unsaid. So they choose their silence carefully. But if you look deeper into their past, you'll find that this silence isn't accidental. It was built. For many of these individuals, their refusal to gossip stems from a place of deep personal history. They aren't just guessing how damaging rumors can be, they know from firsthand experience. Many of them have been on the receiving end of a smear campaign, a broken promise, or a toxic rumor disguised as harmless conversation. When you have felt the burning sting of betrayal, your brain undergoes a psychological shift. Your survival instincts kick in. You develop a strict boundary system. When they sit in a room and watch people tear someone else apart, they don't see entertainment. Their brain registers it as a threat. They recognize that if a group is willing to betray someone else to entertain them, that exact same group will happily betray them to entertain someone else the second they leave the room. They don't avoid gossip because they think they are holier than thou. They avoid it because they value peace over drama, self-respect over temporary attention, and authentic integrity over a cheap, shallow bond. To truly understand the power of the person who stays silent, we have to look at the dark psychology of the person who can't stop talking. Why do people gossip in the first place? Psychologists point to a concept known as downward social comparison. Deep down, habitual gossipers suffer from a fragile sense of self-worth. Because building themselves up through hard work is difficult, their brain takes a psychological shortcut. It tears someone else down instead. By focusing on someone else's failures, mistakes, or scandals, the gossiper experiences a temporary, artificial spike in superiority. It's a cheap dopamine hit for an insecure mind. Furthermore, gossip is often used as a form of proximity-based bonding. It is the easiest, lowest effort way for two insecure people to create a superficial alliance. They don't have the emotional depth to connect over shared goals, passions, or philosophies, so they connect over a shared target. It is a bond built entirely on negative energy, and like all things built on negativity, it is incredibly unstable. What habitual gossiper doesn't realize is that science has proven their behavior actively ruins their own reputation. In psychology, there is a fascinating phenomenon known as spontaneous trait transference. Studies show that when you speak to a listener about another person's flaws, the listener's subconscious brain doesn't naturally attribute those flaws to the victim. Instead, it unconsciously links those exact negative traits to you. If you spend 20 minutes telling a coworker that a manager is clueless, lazy, and manipulative, your coworker's brain silently logs the words clueless, lazy, and manipulative and attaches them to your face. The non-gossiper knows this intuitively. By remaining silent, they protect their own psychological real estate. Highly observant people listen far more than they speak. They treat their words like valuable assets, not cheap commodities. They understand that not every fleeting thought needs to be voiced to be validated. By refusing to participate in low-value chatter, something incredible happens. They naturally establish themselves as an anchor of safety in a chaotic world. Have you ever noticed that the people who never gossip are almost always the exact same people everyone secretly respects? They are the ones people go to when they need to vent a real problem, share a genuine secret, or ask for life-altering advice. Their silence isn't emptiness, it's a fortress. They protect what is private, both for themselves and for those who trust them. They successfully trade the fleeting, toxic thrill of tearing a community apart for the priceless, long-term asset of absolute respect. If you are someone who constantly chooses silence when a room fills with gossip, never let the crowd make you feel like you're the odd one out. You aren't antisocial and you aren't broken. You are simply fiercely protective of your inner peace. You understand that respect is expensive, and you refuse to spend it on cheap conversations. Thank you for spending your valuable time and energy here today. If this perspective resonated with you, consider subscribing to join our community of quiet observers. Until next time, protect your peace.